Hello, I'm Brigantia Blackbird of Blackbird's Brew. Happy Monday. It's time to take another look at the goddess Rhiannon, and this time we'll be examining three different occasions in her mythology and the first branch of the Mabinogi that have to do with problem solving. We are all facing more problems than what we really know what to do with, so it's good to look to our gods and goddesses for a little bit of divine inspiration, of things we might try that could improve our situation. So Rhiannon's first problem, and this is how we realize that she's on the scene, it's when her father decided that he was going to arrange for her to marry Gawal. Well, Rhiannon had wanted absolutely nothing to do with this man, but when she decided that she was going to chart her own course, she didn't reject the idea of getting married in and of itself. Her solution was to select a groom that was more to her liking. So she proactively set out to get Will's attention. It was not an accident or a coincidence that she just happened to be riding by that hill he was on. You know, that intriguing hill that he'd heard so many mysterious things about. And it wasn't happenstance she was going along on horseback just when he might be able to see her. No, 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 no. This was planned. And not only that, she then made him go to some effort in order to get her attention back, which is actually very smart. If he was going to be someone who would actually be the man who would rescue her from this unwanted marriage and, arrange for her to be in a more desirable situation, well, he would have to be the sort who would put forth some effort. It wouldn't just happen. So he did what was necessary. She secured his hand in marriage, and then from there she was able to present her father with a scenario that met his basic requirements. She was absolutely getting married. There was just, a change of cast. And it's also significant to note that she chose a groom whose kingdom was on the other side of the veil from her father's kingdom. Now, the reason why that is significant is because it has to do with autonomy. A match to someone like Quill, who was mortal, that would lessen her father's ability to have say-so over how she ran her own affairs, that ensured a measure of autonomy from her own father. Now, it did put her in the power of her husband-to-be, but still, she was a goddess, he was a mortal, she was able to choose her circumstances rather than just passively accept them. There's a little bit more of her being able to get a word in. Now we come to the difficulty of her wedding itself. Thanks to Will's impulsive nature, he made a mistake. He promised someone without setting in any limitations, and this landed Rhiannon in position of having to marry Gawal again. And it was up to her to circumvent this outcome because I think we've established we can't really rely on Will to be the one who's doing thinking. He was not the brains of the operation. So, when she faced this scenario, she didn't just deny Gawal's gambit. There were cultural reasons, custom reasons, code of honor reasons why she couldn't just say, no, not only did I not accept you, I deliberately picked someone else because he wasn't you. And if she had gone this route, this actually would have jeopardized Quill's standing within the community. So instead she got sneaky. After all, Gawal had been sneaky, so turnabout was fair play. So she used her knowledge of magic to her advantage, and she created a scenario in which Gawal had to give up his claim voluntarily and had to swear not to seek retribution. So she understood the rules of her society. She understood how customs could be rearranged in a way that benefited her goals and actually bought time to put the solution into action. And she also made sure that Quill knew what his role in the revised plan was, and when he went outside of that, when he and his men started bashing about Gawal when they had him captive, she was the one who called him to order after that got out of hand. Again, making sure that she was the one who set the terms, she was the one who was ultimately in charge. She had the autonomy. It's all about making sure that you know that whatever other people are choosing to do, you still retain the choices of how you are going to react to it and what you will do in response. And I think that's one of the important lessons here. Now, the third scenario I want to discuss is, the punishment that she suffered, interestingly enough, at Quill's hands. When she was falsely accused of killing and eating her own child, Rhiannon reacted very calmly. She was not believing this ridiculous tale that she had been told, And her first attempt to solve this problem was to reason with the incompetent nurses. When that failed, Rhiannon gathered together her own group of loyal advisors to brainstorm possible solutions with. And then, when it became clear that the tide of events was going against her, she didn't waste her time arguing with idiots. She accepted the injustice of her punishment. She accepted the advice of her counselors of saying, there's not a much you can do about it right now. Bide your time, let things develop. So as she was required to undergo this punishment, which involved telling the false story about the death of her child, and then to offer to carry visitors on her back to the keep as if she was a horse, she still throughout this retained her dignity. And it's really why so few people ever accepted her offer to be carried on her back. And because she was reacting with dignity, with calm, it's left an impression on people's minds. They would not be able to square up the image of, the person they were dealing with the story that was being told. The two things did not make sense together. And then at long last, her innocence was proven, and when this occurred, her reaction was very gracious, she was very forgiving, and this reinforced the good impression she already made on people. Rhiannon is someone who plays the long game. She's not someone who just, burns down the house in order to get rid of the spider. She deals with things, and she deals with things within the accepted structure, and things have to get to the point where the structure of a society is so dysfunctional that there really is no way out, and then, only then, that's when she goes completely against it, as we saw in third branch of the Mabinogi when she had a difficulty with her second husband, also involving her son. So what can we learn from this? Certainly to be proactive. We are not just the helpless playthings of fate. And while it is true that our will is not the only active will in the universe, that does not mean that we cannot fight our own corner. And it's right and proper that we should do so. We shouldn't wait for someone else to do that for us. This is our responsibility as an adult human being. You thought we were going to get through a video without me coughing, didn't you? Yeah, so did I. Okay, but the second lesson. It's no when it's better to fight back within the rules. Sometimes it isn't necessary to get dramatic in order to successfully deal with a problem. It goes back to that whole scenario of burning down the house just to get rid of the spider. There's probably a way to remove the spider from the house and get it in a different place without having to destroy the structure in which it is currently living. And a third thing that I think we can learn is to understand when it's probably better for us to hold our peace and then just do what we must, suffer what we have to, but with our head held high. This is really very difficult, especially in our society that currently places no value on dignified behavior whatsoever. It is all high emotionalism. It's all crying and screeching and, oh, my pain, and I'm going to tell everybody in the world all about it. There's no sense of restraint. And Rhiannon understood restraint. She understood that regardless of what was happening, she was who she was. Then that required a certain level of behavior that was consistent with her rank as a goddess, consistent with really her position as queen, but also consistent with her own character. There was a standard of behavior that she required of herself for self-respect. And I think that's something we could all do well to really meditate upon. About, are we conducting ourselves in a manner, even when we're under pressure, even when we're under trial, in such a way that we are able to retain our own self-respect. So, lots to unpack there. I'd love to hear your thoughts about it. If you would like, you can come and visit us at Blackbird's Brew. There will be a link in the description box below where you can join. And then, of course, if you haven't already, please like and subscribe to this channel. That's it for now. I'll see you in another video. Bye.